welcome back to Concert Critiques in Cars with Emily. So this concert was a really exciting one for me because I've never seen any of the bands, but particularly I've never seen the headliner before, and I've liked them for a really long time. The album that I know from front to back is turning 20 next year, so that's how long I've loved them. Anyway, so the show was, oh my gosh, sorry. So the show was Others May Fall, University Drive, Awake for Days, and the headliner who I really went to go see, Cold. So it was at Baltimore Soundstage, and getting there was actually really easy. I was really pleasantly surprised that I hit almost no traffic. I mean, there was like a actually not even typical traffic. It was less than typical, so that was really awesome. 95 was pretty smooth. So, and then I parked in my favorite parking garage, so that was all very awesome. So yeah, so that was definitely a huge plus. Got there a little bit early, which was nice. So yeah, so really getting there was definitely a nice thing. So this was a concert that had 4 bands, which is always like a love-hate thing for me, right? I love listening to new music, but then I hate having to stand through that, and obviously I knew this concert was going to end later than my usual like 10:20, 10:30. Like, I love that when they end at that time, it's great. But I knew this was going to probably end towards 11 just because I had 4 bands, although it did start early. It started at 7, so it was definitely nice that they took that into account, that there were 4 bands, so I really did appreciate that. All right, so let's get into the bands. Others May Fall was really good. They opened with the recording of the Muppet Show, so that was pretty cool, like just a fun little thing. So they first started with like this really powerful sound, like just kind of music just blasting, and the lyrics were really hard to hear just overall. But I also have a feeling that had to do with, so I was standing in the second row, which, I mean, listen, I've learned at a very young age when I first went to Warped Tour with Hope's Fall that if you're standing too close to the stage, sometimes you can't really hear the lyrics. And so that was on me. I wanted to be close for Cold, so maybe I should have like stepped back a little bit, and it would have been a little bit better. But yeah, so their lyrics were really hard to hear. And again, like where I was standing, the drums were like right in front of me. So maybe that made it harder to hear, but definitely that first song, again, it was just so much coming at you that it was really hard to hear the lyrics. So then after that, I really liked the music in the second song, and I really liked the lyrics that I could hear. So I definitely want to check that song out for sure. The third song was called High School, and again, when I could hear the lyrics, they sounded really good, and it definitely was like a catchy song, so could have been a really great one. So then I like really, in the next song, the instrumental bridge was so fantastic. Like really liked that so much. So so that was really a good song, and especially a good follow-up to like the second song and the third song, which I did kind of like but couldn't hear the lyrics, and then that instrumental part of that next song really just brought it home, so that was really cool. So then the drummer, just in general, was awesome because pretty much after every song he would stand up and like raise his fist and be like, woo! So that was cool. He was definitely excited. And then I'll talk to you about what happened at the end with him, which was so awesome, and definitely wish every drummer would do that. But anyway, so the next song after that was really good, and it was pretty much because I could understand the lyrics. So I really liked that song. And again, maybe it had to do with the instruments that were being played or the lack of drums. I'm not really sure, but anytime I could hear lyrics, I really liked the song, and that particular song was definitely a good one that had a lot of good lyrics. So then they played a cover that I recognized the chorus to, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And again, I couldn't hear the verses, so it's like it was hard for my brain to figure it out. But every time the chorus came on, I was like, oh no, I definitely recognize the song. I definitely recognize it. So yeah, just really wish that that I could have heard the lyrics more clearly and more consistently. And then their last song, it was a really good mix of like lighter stuff and then heavier stuff, so I really liked how there was a nice range. So yeah, overall I thought they were really good. And so at the end, the drummer came around and gave everyone in like the first 2 rows what he called mama kisses. So it was like the little like, yeah, it was great. It was so good. It was really cute. And so yeah, they were good, and apparently they're super local, and they played at, they were playing at kind of look into and maybe see if with lyrics their songs are really good, or if maybe not hearing the lyrics wasn't a bad thing. I don't know. If you know them, let me know. Super interested to definitely check them out. So then University Drive, they were really overall very good. They came out, they had like a voice kind of saying stuff in the background, which was carried throughout the first song, but then also came back for another song or two later on. But what I loved, like the minute they started playing their instruments, I was like, yep, nope, I love this. This is great. This is fantastic. So I loved their opener, and their lyrics were definitely clear, but also, to be fair, their drum kit was really like far back in the stage on the right-hand side. So maybe that made a difference, but also that first song, they definitely like sang the lyrics, and then the drums came in for like the transition between the verse and the chorus. So definitely also a different type of sound as well, but could definitely hear more of the lyrics more clearly. I really loved the first song so much, like just so straight up loved the first song. So then for the second song, there was a really, really great build up. It started like with not a lot of instruments and kind of just then slowly gained more and more momentum, and then towards the end you were like definitely rocking out. So I really liked that build up for the second song. The third song was like much heavier and than the other two, and it was definitely, again, harder to understand just because there was so much instrument going on. So that definitely impacted the third song. The next song was also heavier, and at the end the bassist did a screaming part, so that was kind of cool. I liked that they had the bassist do some of the singing and the screaming, so it was pretty neat. And I would be interested to hear that song digitally and not live, just because, again, it was hard to understand lyrics, especially the screaming part, because it was just so loud instrument-wise, but also just hard to understand in general. Really liked the verses of the next song. Then they had a really good contrast for the song after that between the verses and the chorus, like very different sounding music. So I really, really liked that. And so I think that overall, that is what they did well, is that so even for those heavier songs, they at least had contrast between like parts of the song, so it didn't all sound just like one massive mush. So I really, really liked that, and definitely that will come in the next band. That's what happened a lot. It was just like, I felt like it was just like a massive, like just one single, like just sound that kind of continued through the whole song, which I don't particularly enjoy. So now let's talk about that band, Awake for Days. So Awake for Days is from Italy, and the singer has the cutest accent, and at one point he was trying to think of words and clearly could not think of them in English, and so someone made a suggestion and he took it, and it was great, and it was just really, it was cute, and it was awesome. And really weird, because you definitely didn't hear the Italian accent in the singing part of it, so it was just like super cool to kind of see the difference and listen to the music. Oh yeah. So okay, so at the beginning of the very beginning of their set, the mic was definitely not on correctly, not loud enough or something, because there was like no sound coming from the singer, and I was like, oh my gosh, if this is the whole set, this is going to be terrible. But fortunately, within the first like 3 lines, someone clearly realized it and fixed it, and I was like, whew, okay, like at least I can now enjoy the set a little bit more than not being able to hear a single word that was said. So that was really good. And just overall, their sound is definitely heavier, so again, they had like a really powerful sound that first song, and actually I really liked the balance of the first song between the screaming and the normal singing. It definitely was a good introduction to the band as a whole, so I thought that was really cool. Really, really loved the music of the second song, especially like the first part with the instruments, and then the second verse. Like just really, really loved that whole song pretty much, but definitely loved the first part in particular. Then before the third song, they made us put our fists in the air, and he sang the first like couple lines with this like really raspy sounding voice. So that was actually a pretty cool voice change, and kind of his voice for the rest of it wasn't as raspy, but it was definitely like a little bit different than what he had been using for the first 2 songs. This is one of the songs that had a pretty consistent sound other than those first couple lyrics, where you could definitely tell the difference of that raspy voice. So this was not one of my favorite songs. I definitely was not enjoying it as much as I had enjoyed the other songs previously. Okay, so the next song was, so it went from like my least favorite of the set, or least favorite, to my absolute favorite of the set. Really, really loved it. So they had recorded strings in the opening, but then also a little bit later in the song as well. So I really, really loved that component. But more than that, the verses, the chorus, and the bridge all sounded so different from each other, and that's what I really loved about that song. Yes, the strings helped because it's a really cool effect with that like heavier rock sound, but it was just the fact that it sounded so different. So I really liked that, so that was really cool. Then they started, and then the next song was kind of the same. Even though I liked the song before it better, just being like lyrically, the next song was actually kind of just as interesting because it started with this screaming, then the verses were like rapping, and then the chorus was like normal rock. So that was definitely interesting as well. I like that. So yeah, they just had like a heavier sound. Kind of didn't like one of the songs towards the end. Not really my favorite. So definitely the third and maybe the sixth song, or the seventh song. And then yeah, the last song I really liked the chorus, but I was like ready for Cold. So I was like, yeah, I mean, this is a fine song, but I was definitely like itching to see the band that I came to see. And after standing, for so long and knowing that this was going to be a long show, I was like, it's fine, I like the chorus, but I'm ready. So yeah, so they were a good band. Definitely a little bit heavier than the other two, and definitely had a couple songs that were just that one consistent sound that I really was not a huge fan of. All right, now the moment you've all been waiting for, Cold. Oh my god. Okay, so I was really excited for Cold. They definitely did the intro to their new album when they first came out. There was definitely some voice, and I'm assuming that's what it was. I could be wrong, so please let me know if I am. The first song I didn't know, and I honestly thought that if they did the intro, they might just go into Shine, but they didn't. So I ended up being glad that they didn't do that, but that was my guess, is that they were going to go right into Shine because that was their single. But it also occurred to me later that that is their current single, whereas I guess Shine is their current single. So anyway, sorry, I know I'm getting off the topic. So I didn't know that song. It was definitely just awesome. Like when he first sang that word, that first word, I was just like, oh my god, this is Cold, guys. Like, this is the singer. So that was really exciting just to hear his voice. Again, I didn't know it. It was a fine pick. I would have picked a song I knew, obviously, but overall, I was just excited to see Cold. The next song was so frustrating for me. It was Give, which I looked up later because I could not for the life of me remember it. And so that was what was really frustrating, is I don't know if it was where I was standing or if it was just his mic or what, but sometimes it was really hard to understand what he was saying. And so my head was like, you know this song, and I could not place it. And so I knew the chorus, and I was like totally with it for the chorus, and then the verses just like totally escaped me. And I was so frustrated because I was like, I know that this song is good and I want to enjoy it, but I can't enjoy it if I can't like remember what the lyrics are. So that was frustrating for me personally, but yeah, so after that I realized it was Give. Don't know that song as well as other songs, but I definitely should have known more of that song, so maybe I should have stood somewhere else. Maybe it was the mic, maybe it was, I don't know what it was. So I'd be interested to know if you were there and if you had been standing somewhere else, if you could hear the lyrics more clearly. Let me know. I am genuinely interested and I would like to know. So anyway, the next song I did not know, but the crowd did, and they were like going crazy for it, so that was pretty cool to see. And then at the end of that song, he just like, they stopped playing the instruments and just let the crowd sing the end of that song. So that was pretty cool. I really liked that effect, and it definitely was like, yeah, it was, I wasn't expecting it. It was like, and no instruments. And you were like, whoa, what just happened? And then the crowd was singing, so that was cool. Then they played Without You, which is the song I did my video for. So that was really cool to see live, especially because I knew the lyrics really well, because I had listened to them like 100 billion times. So that was cool. I really liked that. Oh, finally, after 4 songs, my moment that I was waiting for came. So they played No One. And if you don't know that song, the bridge in and of itself is just so noteworthy, and it's just so fantastic. And like heart-wrenchingly good. So good. So good. So good. That was the moment I was waiting for. That was the Cold I had gone to see, was just knowing every word of that song and just every note and everything about it. Oh, it was so good. And I really, really just love that bridge of that song. So seeing it live in real life was just amazing and so fantastic. After that, they played the break. Didn't know, but I really liked the bridge again, so that was kind of fun to have two good bridge songs right in a row, so that was a nice little treat, I guess. And then Suffocate after that. Really loved the verses. The crowd really loved that song in general. Not a huge fan of the chorus, but I really did love the verses, so that was cool, even though I didn't know. Then I had another song that I love. It's All Good was next, and he changed the ending and kind of repeated certain things that aren't normally repeated, so that was really cool. And I love anytime they change a song that I know and just play a song that I know in general, so that was really good. And it's all good. It was fantastic, so I really liked that. After that, it was When Angels Fly Away. So I didn't know that song, and it was really hard to hear the lyrics, but when I could hear the lyrics, it was really good. I really liked it, and I really liked the melody of it and the instrumental part of it. So I definitely am going to check that song out more in depth for sure, because I definitely have, I've been listening to Cold a lot in the past couple weeks, so I've come across it, but I didn't really know it that well, so I definitely am going to look into that, and it was really good live, and I, again, wish I could have heard the lyrics more clearly, but it was definitely good. Then they played Happens All the Time, and I totally forgot that that was a Cold song, and it was great, and I was like, oh yeah, this is like totally great. So that was cool. I was really glad that they played that song, and it was a nice surprise, and I was like, oh yeah, this is great. After that, they played Confession. So good, just so good, and they made small changes to the bridge, like just like holding things and quicker and slower, and it was just excellent. Like such a good song in general, but then to change the bridge the way that it was changed was just phenomenal. So good. Really enjoyed that change. So then after that, he said that we were their best crowd, and he's like, look, I know bands say that to crowds all the time, and he goes, but I can genuinely say that I haven't said that at all. And I guess someone was recording it, and he was like, yeah, he's like, exactly, it's all on YouTube, so you can go check and verify. So I thought that was cute that he like genuinely must have thought we were a good crowd, which is actually so strange to me. So Baltimore Soundstage is a pretty decent sized venue, so they have the front part, they have a little tiny side part for the VIP, which has tables and chairs, high top tables and chairs, and then they have this like step up with like a little railing, and then they have like the back part, which is where they usually put the merch, but that back part was like totally closed off, which makes me think that they clearly didn't sell a lot of tickets for this show, and that really made me sad, because I was like, how does no one else want to see Cold? Like, it's Cold, guys. So yeah, so that was weird, and the fact that they still thought we were a great crowd even though they didn't even have the whole venue open, I thought that was interesting. So, but anyway, sorry, that was kind of a tangent. Oh yeah, okay. So then they played a song called Ocean, which I really didn't know, but I loved it so much, and I could hear the lyrics clearly, and it was great. I really, really liked it, and the crowd was pretty much into it, so it was really good. After that, they played End of the World, which, you know, is just, I mean, it's End of the World, so it was great, and definitely towards the end, so it was so funny, I was like, wow, I really know most of these lyrics, but there were definitely parts where it's like, you get like a couple words, you're like, wait, what was that word again? So towards the end, the singer's mic definitely went out. He definitely was singing and there was no sound coming from the mic. So, and after the song, he did go to the side of the stage, I think, to check on it. So there was definitely something wrong with the mic at the end of that song. But, I mean, again, it was End of the World, so it kind of made sense that that would happen. No, it was great. It was good. I still really like seeing that song. Then he played God's Song, which was another one that I kind of forgot about. Maybe it's that whole CD that I kind of forgot about, should have listened to more before I went to the show, but it was really good. And I was glad that, again, it was like 2 surprises, and I was excited about that. Then they played Stupid Girl, which obviously is their biggest hit. Not my favorite song of theirs, even not even close. Like, I like the song, don't get me wrong, and seeing the song live and the verses live in particular were really good. Not my favorite song. Crowd loved it. It was awesome to see the song live, so that was really great. And then they left for the encore. And then when they came back, they brought this little girl who was like up at the front of the stage. She was a little tiny thing, and talked about how he had met her earlier, and they signed a shirt for her. And that was pretty cool. And then he thanked the other bands and brought the singer of University Drive back out and talked about how their album is really good and it's very personal. And so that was kind of cool that he like genuinely listened to an opener and liked them. And so that was a nice touch, and I thought that was cool to hear about. So then they played their Snow Patrol cover, Run. So that was just great. I love that song before they covered it, and anytime a band covers a song that I love, it's always pretty cool. And just those lines about like when I see your eyes, I won't be able to see them, and it makes me almost, this is so good. Sorry, I know I really messed that up. Not even gonna try and save it, sorry. And yeah, okay. Anyway, after that they played Shine, which again I thought maybe would be the first song, especially after the intro, because that is the order on the album. But I'm glad that they saved it, because I really do like that song, and I'm definitely glad that was towards the end. After that they played Just Got Wicked, which again, great, fantastic song from the album that I know from front to back, so it was really great to see that song live. I do wish, however, if they had replaced that with No One and played No One later and played Just Got Wicked in the beginning, I mean, seeing No One was just so definitely the highlight of the show for me. So good, just so good. Yeah, and then after that they ended with Feel It in Your Heart, and I had never heard that song before, and I was like, initially I was like, why didn't you just end with Just Got Wicked? But I actually really liked that song, and I liked pretty much everything about it. And so for them to end on a song that I actually didn't mind them ending on, that I didn't know, is a pretty big deal. Because usually if the band ends on a song I don't know, I'm like, all right, I'm done, I want to leave. But I didn't actually want to, I mean, listen, I wanted to leave like a half hour before. But I wasn't like, all right, man, I'm leaving. Like, I was genuinely excited to listen to that song. So that was a really good choice on their part, because even though I didn't know it, I was still excited about it. Oh my gosh, sorry this is so long. Maybe, whatever. Okay, so, score. This is an interesting one, because I really did like the first opener. So I liked them. I just wish you could hear their lyrics more. It's so hard to really get into. And so Others May Fall was good. It's just so hard to understand their lyrics. But then I really, really liked University Drive. Like, really, really liked them. So that definitely, like, balanced out. And then Awake for Days, they were good. There were definitely some low points, and there were definitely some one or two high points. And then, I mean, Cold overall definitely had, I just want them in next year, so it's 2020, so their album came out in 2000, so it'll be 20 years next year. If they do a 20-year anniversary with, like, 13 Ways to Bleed from start to finish, I would just, I mean, that's going to that show no matter what, and this review would be totally different. So I feel like I don't know what to do score-wise, because the openers definitely had their lows, but they then had their highs, and then Cold in and of themselves definitely had some low points for me, just because the lyrics were hard to hear. But then also, obviously, like, seeing No One live, I mean, again, I just totally love that song, and seeing it was just such a highlight. Just such a, like, oh, it was such a good moment. I think I'm going to give this one an 8.0. Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it an 8.0. I would have liked to see different songs. I really would have loved to see No One later in the set. The openers were pretty okay. I really wish I could have heard the lyrics better. And again, maybe that was where I was standing. If you were standing somewhere else, please let me know if I maybe should have moved. But overall, yeah, it was a great show, but definitely gonna stick with my score. And yeah, let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Were you there? Were you at a different show? Were you hoping to be there? Have you never even heard of Cold, and now you're like, definitely gotta check them out? Let me know. And yeah, like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys next time.